So, Chip, I see here within my Teams, I have a link for conversations, but I also have a link for chat. What are the differences between those two things?
So yeah, that can be a little confusing. So a conversation is basically any communication between two or more people, and that can be part of a team, actually part of a channel, or it can be part of a private chat. So conversations happen either in channels or in chat. So let me show you on mine. So in the Team Awesome Video project, we've already looked at how to do conversations. That was all of that communication we had in the last module. Chat is actually really similar, except in this case, instead of posting to the channel where everybody in the team can see it, you're having a private conversation, usually one-on-one or maybe with a handful of people.
Okay.
So in this case, notice that I am communicating with Aaron, and I'm on the conversation tab here, which is just like the conversation tab in Teams. It looks the same. And it's the same idea. So I have the same message block down here in the bottom. I have the same formatting controls. I have the same attachment, emoji, GIFs, stickers. In this case, I also have the ability to schedule a meeting. We'll come back and talk about that in another lesson. But so if I wanted to send Aaron something, I could just type it here. And of course, do all the usual formatting things. And I can send that. Now the difference is nobody's going to see that except Aaron. And
Okay.
if somebody else searches on the word something, they're not going to find this. If Aaron searches on the word something, he'll find this. I'll find this because we're part of that conversation, but nobody else in the group is. So it's just a level of privacy. This is more like a one-on-one conversation. Maybe you're part of a team, but there's something that you need to say that doesn't need to be in public with the whole team for whatever reason. You would come to a private chat to do it.
So why not communicate just within the channel and use the mention feature?
Yeah, so I could have put @Aaron Bauer and sent it that way, but that would still be public and it would still be visible by everybody else in the group. And if I was talking about something personal, if I was asking a question about something in his personal life, or if it was we need to talk about a fellow teammate, don't need that to be public, then the chat is going to be a better place for that.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't have to be one-on-one. In this case, it's just me and Aaron, but let's say that I want to bring you into the chat. Up here in the very top left corner, you can see I have this plus button. It looks like two people, and it says Add People if I mouse over it. If I click on this, it gives me the ability to add a person, but watch what happens. So I'll type in your name, I'll choose you, and choose Add. But what it did is it started a new conversation.
Okay.
So this is keeping whatever Aaron and I had talked about before still private, but now we're having a conversation, the three of us, and this conversation will be private amongst the three of us. So this is three of us. And now both you and Aaron will receive that. And if you notice over on the left-hand side where I'm sorting through my different chats, I have a chat for Aaron, and then I also have a chat for Aaron and Alrinthia.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is hard to say. So here's the conversation I'm having with the three of you, and here's the conversation I'm having just with Aaron, and those are separate. And that's for privacy reasons, like you might expect.
So it's almost like you're messaging back and forth on social media, but you're also texting one of the people separately on your phone.
Right. It's really two entirely separate conversations in this case. Now, bear in mind it's not entirely private because the IT administrators and senior management could still see these if they wanted to, but it's normally private. Now, notice this conversation is very similar to what we saw in Teams. So is some of the rest of the top tabs. We also have a Files tab, and just like in the Teams, we can add files here directly, or we can add an attachment to part of our conversation. So if I was going to say, this is the contract, and then let's say I want to attach something from my computer, and let's say it's this ArtCon document here, which is not, but let's say it was. So now that's posted. I can see the attachment here in my conversation, and I can actually open that here. I can edit that in Teams or in Word Online. We're going to look more at that in another lesson.
Okay.
But I can also go up here to my files, and there's the file there as well. So That's a great way for if you're having a private conversation and you're also working on a document together. It's not something that needs to be in a formal channel for some reason. You can do that here as well. Now, we've looked at these before, but let's look at the rest of the tabs. Organization is going to show me information about the people that I'm talking to and how they relate in the organizational structure of the business if management or IT administrators have put that information in there. So here's Aaron, he's under me, and he's over Daniel Hanley. If I needed to, for some reason message Daniel directly, you can see I can do that from these icons here. Or if I need to message myself, it won't let me because I am myself. I can do the same thing in this conversation with the three of us, but there's no organization tab here. So when there's a multi-person conversation, you lose some of those additional tabs. So let's say I want to start a chat with you. I don't have a chat with you yet on here. There's a couple different ways I could do it. One way is I could come up here to this pencil, start a new chat, type in your name, and then go from there. Another way I could do it is if I go to anywhere where I can find your name, whether it's here in this multi-person chat, I see your name at the top, I could come over here to this icon and this will start a chat with you. I could also go to the Teams where we've had some conversations and I can mouse over your name where you got mentioned and choose the chat icon. I could also mouse over your icon here and choose the chat icon. So if you see someone talking in a team conversation and you need to ask them a private question about something, you can just mouse over their name, choose the chat icon, and that starts a new chat directly with that person. And I'll just say hi. Now again, like we saw before, up at the top, in my conversation with you, in my chat with you, there's no files. We haven't put any files there yet. There's no organization because you don't have any organization information in Office 365. When I look at activity, I do see all the things that you have done recently. So the things that you've posted in other channels, the sticker you posted, the conversations you've posted in the channels, I see here under your activity. So it's a way where I can kind of see what you've been working on. And I can also add additional tabs by clicking on this plus icon. In the chat, there's only a couple of options. Since we first filmed this course, Microsoft has really updated the amount of things that you can add as a tab in a chat. So let's take a look at this today. If I click on plus, you can see I have a lot more than just the two options that Chip and Alrinthia saw before. And to check out what each of these do, you can click on any of them and they'll give you a description of what they do. For now, we're going to go back and Chip and Alrinthia are going to add the website tab to their chat. But I could choose, for example, to add a website. So we'll add a website that you're associated with. I know you're with Alchemy Comedy. And your website is alchemycomedy.com. Now it's telling me that's not a valid URL. Normally I could fix that by putting http:// in front of it. But because Teams has enterprise grade security, this has to be a secure website. So it's only going to do it if there's an S. And it even tells you that down here in the bottom. It has to have https://. So let's choose save. So now as we're having our chat, I can come and view our conversation. I can view our files we're working on. I can see where you are in the company, if that was populated, which is not. I can see activity you've done recently, and I can see a website where you work. So pretty handy for having a nice, robust chat with someone, probably more than most tools. And then also notice if I wanted to go to this website outside of Teams, I had this little icon over here with the arrow coming out of the box, and that'll open a web browser and take me to that website.
Oh,
so
cool.
That can be handy also. Now, last but not least, sometimes you're having a conversation with somebody and it's just too much to type and you just need to have a phone call or a video chat or even a screen sharing session. Teams gives you these icons up here to start those sessions. So if I click on the video camera, it'll start a video call. If I click on the phone icon, it'll start an audio call. We're going to cover those in more detail in another lesson.
Okay.
Now, something else we should mention is because Teams is very new, a lot of companies, not everybody's on Teams yet, but they may be on Skype for Business. Teams works pretty well with Skype for Business, so I can actually have a conversation with somebody who does not have Teams, but does have Skype for Business. For example, I know there's somebody in our organization named Ben Burris who is not yet on Teams. If I try to bring him up, I did a search for his name, and it's telling me this user is currently using Skype for Business. Some Microsoft Teams features won't be available. Notice all the formatting controls are gone. I can't send emojis. I can't send GIFs. I can't even have an audio and video call with him yet. They are going to include that at some point in the future. So I can send him a message, and if he is online with Skype for Business, then he will get it. If he's not online, then it's going to send it to him as an email, and we got that message here. And he can send back. So we can have a chat conversation, even though he's using Skype for Business, I'm using Microsoft Teams. But long term, it's going to be better if we are both on the same platform. And notice that it gives me an easy button to invite him to Microsoft Teams. So for this to work, he has to be part of my organization. If I have access to Teams, he probably has access to Teams. So long term, my best bet is to invite him to Teams. But in the meantime, at least I can send him a chat message.